3, 2, 1. Stay gold. This might be one of the more important videos that I make so far. I'm trying to focus on things that matter, not just in the short term, but in the long term as well. Not just, the dating stuff can come when it comes. And there are plenty of other people out there that cover that stuff more extensively than I do and better than I do right now. So that's always an option. But this video right here, before you graduate, it's really important. Fair enough, it hasn't been that long since I graduated. But the fact that I finished, that gives me enough experience. It gives me enough certification, whatever you want to call it, because I finished. I'm done with that part now. And looking back, there's a couple of things that I did do right, but also a couple of things I kind of pushed to the side and neglected it in pursuit of my dream, in pursuit of the thing that I wanted the most, which was that change that I've been so desperately trying to achieve. I've put at least 4/6 of my life into this at this point. Almost more than half of my current lifespan I've put into this pursuit, this never-ending pursuit. And I'm going to keep doing it, even when I get results. Because even when you graduate, life does not stop. It just goes on, and things change. So before I get into anything else, your adaptability is important. How good are you at adapting to change? How open are you to change? Because once you walk that stage, things are going to change, and it's going to change fast. And you've got a couple decisions to make, even if you've planned for them. Now, I'm probably going to follow up on this in the future again, but I still wanted to put this out there for now, because coming up by the summer, there's going to be some new grads, and this video, maybe it'll find its way to the right person and hopefully give them something they need. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you things that you probably already know, because there's probably a bunch of teachers telling you that, especially if you're an Avid. Avid especially makes you have a plan. Whole reason why you're in that program is to go to college, right? But when these people, the reason why these teachers and all of these other adults ask you if you have a plan is because they've been in the position you're in before. And maybe they made a couple decisions that they're still paying for, or a couple decisions that they, in retrospect, want to change. And a lot of teachers, they can spot potential, okay? And they know which students they can talk to who will listen. It's not the fact that they don't necessarily want to talk to any of them or, picking favorites, but they want to talk to the people and devote energy and advice to the ones that'll listen. So all I can say before you graduate, if you have that guidance counselor, if you have that adult, if you have that whoever that's in the school system or in the school environment, and they're there trying to help you, trying to give you advice, listen, once you graduate, help does not come like that often at all, if at all. It is all on you, even when you get into college, because I've been there too. Professor ain't gonna email you and let you know and remind you that test is tomorrow. Professor's not gonna hold your hand. Professor's gonna give you everything you need to know at the beginning of the week, and he expects results by the end of the week. Because once you get to college, the expectancy for the level of responsibility that you as a student and you as a recent grad, you as a young adult or emerging young adult, or as a very late teen, depends on your birthday, it gets raised. So they stop holding your hand as much. And professors are not afraid to fail you. I didn't fail. I failed one class in high school, and it was Spanish in my third or fourth year. And I can tell the story now, but that's not really important to this topic. As soon as I got to college, I think I failed 2 classes, but they weren't important classes. They were the extracurricular stuff, but they were still classes. Failed them in the first 2 weeks. Simply because I think my attendance was bad. It's because it was during the Zoom meetings, and Zoom wasn't as stable as it is now. Ultimately, those are just excuses I'm making for myself. End result, I still failed those classes. But all the core classes, all the classes you needed to pass, I passed those. And I'm saying all that stuff about college and stuff because, I don't want you all to graduate and go into college with this unrealistic expectation that it gets easier, or even it gets harder, but you don't understand how much harder it gets until you're actually in there. I've taken college courses. It's a lot of studying, and you need a lot of devotion and a lot of discipline because, like I said, they don't hold your hand. They let you choose for yourself. And if you abuse that freedom and take certain things for granted, you'll just get failed or flunked. And there's no convincing professor to give you a second chance. They'll just tell you, try again next semester. Try again the next time you register for classes. And when high school, right, before you graduate, you still have time to think about things. I know it's a lot, especially if you're a senior, because this is it. Before you know it, you just got here. You were just a sophomore. Now you're a senior. This is your last year of high school. This is what you've been waiting for, to finally finish. Senior year gets here, you're halfway through it, and you start to think about stuff. You're like, whoa, there's a lot coming my way, because it is. Even if college isn't the goal, you leave and then you go and you get a job, which me personally, I think it's not a bad idea to get a job in high school and after high school. You want to build that resume. You want to build that resume. I know working sucks, and I know a lot of you want to be self-made and want to be entrepreneurs, but you need to make some money for now. Where are you going to get the money to start these business ventures? I hope it's not from a loan. Do not take out a loan. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just don't. I've never done it. I've never voluntarily taken out a loan. Don't do it. Quickest way to put yourself in debt, and you ain't even start life yet. Your life. Yeah, you're in high school. You're alive. You're living, but you're not living your life yet. You're still living others' lives. Once you graduate, now it's time for you to choose. And before you graduate, I think I should just tell you a couple of things that could set you up for success. The big one was the resume. Building up your resume. You want some work experience. That's how you get hired. You don't get hired without work experience. At this point, I've built up a pretty solid portfolio, but it took years to do it, and it took a lot of jobs. Even if you do get a job in high school, you probably want to keep that job when you graduate. Even if it's just one job, the fact that you stayed in that job for about 2-3 years, that looks good on your resume. If you get 2-3 jobs and you're there for extensive periods of time, that looks good on your resume. Even if it's a cashier job, even if it's just a job, it shows employers and it shows people who have the money right now. It shows the people who can put coins into your pouch that you're willing to work, and you're willing to work for a extensive period of time. Now they're more inclined to hire you. even down to the plan. I know you've got teachers telling you it. I know you've got guidance counselors asking you. Do you really have a plan? Or are you just telling them what they want to hear so they can get out of your face? And don't forget, and if you don't remember anything else, remember this. Plans will always just be plans until action is taken. That is the biggest lesson that I've had to learn so far. And I think I've said something in one of these other videos about, I had to learn like one of my biggest lessons, but this is one of my biggest ones. Whatever lesson I said before, that was still a big one, but this is one of the biggest ones I've had to learn. I've spent half a decade just planning, essentially. If it wasn't half a decade, it was almost half a decade. No actions ever. And if I did take actions, I would either pull back before it completed, or I would just lose interest and I'm just on something else. Basically. Unfinished, unfocused. Plans will always stay plans, and they will only remain plans until action is taken. And through that action, experience is earned. There are going to be things that you take L's in. You're going to fail. But try to learn as much as you can from losing. Take it from a loser. Okay? Real quick, before I graduated, I was by no means the most popular guy in school. I was peak shy guy. Some people who went to school with me might say, oh, he was a unpopular loner or a popular loner or like unpopular quiet kid or whatever. He was the boy that sat by himself. He was the boy that was in the corner of the class all the time and, all that stuff. Senior year was different. For me, at least. But that's just because I knew a lot of people that I went up the grades with. And I don't know, maybe that rubbed off on me, but I was by no means popular. I definitely was not a hit with the ladies. I was not a hit with the females, the girls, or whatever. I was a textbook L with dating and all that stuff. It got so bad, actually, this shy guy stuff, that in my final, what is it called, homecoming or prom? Senior prom or senior homecoming, whatever that final dance is called. I had not one, but I had 2 or 3 girls walk up to me. Now, of course, they didn't see me as a romantic. Out of the 3, 2 of them did not see me as a romantic. It was more so like, as a friend, they were trying to help me out. And you want to know my scary behind it? My scary booty, bro. I just stood there. Nah, I can't. Nah, I'm good. Just a complete vibe killer. Now all I talk about is a vibe. I was probably one of the slowest cookers. The slowest to get baked. I don't know. The slowest to bloom. If it had to be a flower. They say something about like late bloomers or whatever. I'm still not bloomed. If I'm going to be brutally honest with myself. But even during those dances, like there was this one girl in particular, and even to this day, I kind of feel bad on the way that I acted because I probably ruined that girl's night. I forgot what class I used to take with her, but she was a senior, and I think I was it junior? I'm pretty sure it was senior prom. I don't know how she got in because she was a grade above me, but the point is, she was a very intelligent girl and a very attractive girl. That's all I know. I don't really know her herself, but I went to class with her, right? And during the prom or whatever, she asked me to dance with her. And I ended up ducking off, and I just ended up going back with the homies. I basically chilled there for like the night. Because, man, that night was so crazy. Like my ex at the time that I really wanted to get back with, she already had someone else. She moved on. She was not stuck on the past because I was the past. She was not stuck on the past. She was looking at the future, and she was focused on securing it. Am I mad at her for that? No. I respect that. Meanwhile, here I am stuck, trying to convince somebody who's long lost anything they may have had for me to give me another chance. Just pathetic. And I was so blinded by that. I'm sitting here thinking, oh, my this night actually can't go any worse. That I actually didn't notice the girl right there that actually wanted me. That's another thing. I know I made that video that's titled building game from scratch and whatever, and that applies to high school too. Yeah, you could use your high school years to practice, or you could use your high school years to get a head start on the upcoming change to life. Do you want to move out? Do you want to be an entrepreneur? That's how I spent my years. Endless practice, endless planning. I missed a lot of stuff, but I was shy anyways. So the way I saw it, okay, I can't get over my shyness right now. I cannot conquer this. So I put all of my thoughts, all of the things that I wanted, I just started ignoring it. Because I tried so hard throughout all of schooling and it just was not working. Dead end after dead end. And I just started focusing my energy somewhere else. I was doing it beforehand because, everyone's story is different. I already had it made in my mind what I wanted to do. But it became more and more solidified with each loss I suffered, each shortcoming. And in the case of you, while you're still in high school, your number one focus before you graduate should be to graduate. Then, if you plan on working in the future, especially if you want to get a degree, listen, you can have a degree all you want. Now, what people are telling you about college and degrees, that's none of my business. But from what I've experienced, the person that always has experience will always get hired versus the person that doesn't have experience. This is not me saying to not go to college and get the degree for whatever you want to get a degree in. But what I am saying is get some experience. Try to get you a scholarship or try to get you some sort of apprenticeship where you can shadow somebody who's already doing what you're trying to do. So you can get that experience and pair it with your degree. So that way, when you graduate 4 years from now, you didn't just waste 4 years of your precious life. Because you only get one of those that we know of. Always get that experience. Experience triumphs intuition. Okay? Always. Somebody new to fighting is not going to beat somebody who has decades of fighting in them. I don't care how naturally talented they are. They might surprise that person here and there, and they might show this person that's extremely experienced that they have untapped or, untamed potential. But that's it. They're still going to lose that fight. So many animes, just if people took animes as lessons, it tricks people into thinking that they can just be born this just natural genius or natural prodigy. And you can beat people who've been playing the game essentially for decades. At least in this world, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it is extremely unlikely. So if you want to go to college, I know it's not going to be easy. Even if you get a part-time job, that is still something. It shows the people that you're trying to work for, these firms, these labs, these practices that you have experienced and that you've worked before and that you've been in a work environment. You've been all throughout high school, not a single bit of exposure to a work environment. That almost was me. My senior year, I got like a couple months, I think, of work experience being in a work environment, and I did surprisingly good, considering how bashful and shy, and all that I was. I did pretty good, I'd say. And I think the second job I got was how I met my first flame, should I say physical flame? I don't know. That's for another time. Up to that point, I would basically just work with my dad. And get the resume, get that experience, even if it's a part-time job. And then all the money that you get, all I can say is you can spend it how you want. But if I had to go back to high school or whatever, or I had to go back to like working before a time that I had to pay on anything, I would have just saved the money. I mean, honestly, like if you really calculated the salary that you could get from the age you can get a worker's permit all the way up to the age you graduate, you literally could get a car by senior year. You could buy it flat out, or you could just get a down payment on it and start paying a car note, which I have agrees and disagrees on getting a car note too. There are some benefits to it, like building credit if you make your payments on time, but now you got a reoccurring bill every single month. And my goodness, can that get stressful when you just don't have it, when you're just broke. That is a story of every single young adult's life, man. Always broke. It is ridiculous. That's a video for another time too. It is crazy how much you actually pay for just for being young. That's why they like them young. That's why they try to get rid of the old people, because they can't get nothing out of them anymore, especially when they retire. But another thing that I can think of for before you graduate, you definitely want to find your real friends. Find them now, because once you leave school, you're probably never going to see 90% of the people ever again. Yes, we're in an internet age, we're in social media, they can DM you and all that. That's not the same. Listen, I graduated not even that long ago, a couple years. It's really not that long ago. Like it's coming up on about, I think I'm about to enter the third year or something like that. All the people I went to school with, I haven't even talked to any of them. Not once. Like, the only ones I can think of is like when I bumped into them at the store, and it was only like 2 people. I think there was one that I worked with, but then she left the job. She left. And I do think graduating will change some people. Some people might mature fast, depending on what situations they put themselves in. Some people will grow up. Some people will get even more immature. Some people will take life seriously, and some people will just get lazy. Some people will let themselves go. Some people will push themselves to their limit and then go beyond. But just know that thanks to this social media stuff, you're always going to be somewhere in one of those people's eyes. I know I said before that, girls and females are always watching. So are the people you went to school with. Trying to see what you're made of. See if you're going to make anything out of yourself. But does any of that really matter? Are they solving any of your problems, or are they adding problems? That's something that you should ask yourself sometimes when you're dealing with people, not just in school or work, but in general, especially if you're going to be an entrepreneur. Are they giving me solutions? Are they adding things to me, or are they just adding more problems? And when it comes down to finding these people that are your real friends, you don't need 1,000 friends. Listen, I will gladly take 2 best friends, 1 best friend, over 1,000 just normal friends. Those 2 friends, that 1 friend has infinitely more value than just getting the acceptance of a group of people. Who cares about being popular? It won't matter when you graduate. There are only a couple exceptions I can think of to that rule, or to what I just said. But ultimately, once you leave those school walls, that popularity stays. It doesn't follow you. The people in the work world do not care how popular you are. The people in college, they're new. They don't know you. College popularity is way different than high school popularity. That's all I'm going to say for now, because I'm trying to focus on the high school years before you graduate. But these are the things that you need to start to look at a little bit. You know, the stuff that I've went over, and I'm trying to keep this kind of short. You know, first things first, before you graduate, you got to focus on graduating. Second thing, you need to have a plan after you graduate. I know you hear everyone telling you it doesn't need to be the most complex plan. Even if they're trying to get you to make a very complex plan, as long as you have something, you'll have some sort of guideline, some sort of road to follow after you graduate, and you won't be lost. Even if it's just a very vague plan, or, you know, a couple bullet points on a piece of paper, it's something to start with once you graduate. Because some people graduate and it's like, what now? You know, some go to college and it doesn't work out, and you're like, what now? This is why you make backup plans. Again, it doesn't need to be the most complex thing, but it gives you something to go to so that you can keep going forward and you don't get stuck. Third thing, now is pretty much a good time to make some lifelong connections and try to make attempts to stay into contact with one another. When everyone graduated, when I saw everyone walk the stage, I didn't get to walk the stage. Like, I graduated, but it was under different circumstances, right? I'm just glad that I got to graduate, and I'm grateful for that. As a matter of fact, now that I think about it, I need to make sure that I get my actual diploma, not this copy diploma they gave me. Anyways, when I saw them graduate, right, and they walked the stage, and I think I saw 2 classes graduate, if I remember correctly. What they did after graduation is all the people that they wanted to stay in contact with, you know what they did? They walked up to them, gowns on and everything, and they tried to get their contact information. Now, this doesn't mean that that other person is going to actually try and communicate with you, but you at least know that you tried. A lot of people, when they graduate, they look at it as a fresh start. They cut a lot of people off, or they just forget about people because they want to meet new people, right? This is why it's a good idea to find your ride or dies, or find your yearlies, not your seasonals. Seasonals, they come and go. Yearlies are there around the clock. You want to build your resume, get some work experience, get a taste of what it's like to be in the work world. Because unless you get some lucky break, or, you know, you get some sort of handout, or some sort of, I don't know, something just falls out the sky, or I don't know, you get a helping hand, you're going to have to work for some period of your life. Even if you want to be self-made and you want to be an entrepreneur, you still got to get money from somewhere for now, until you get to the point where you pay yourself. I know it sucks. You think I like being under somebody's thumb? They just schedule me in, they pencil me in. You think I like somebody having their hands in my finances? I gotta wait 2 weeks, or I don't remember if I've done monthly. I think it's always been bi-weekly, but you gotta wait 2 weeks. 2 weeks. How fast everything is going, 2 weeks is even starting to be too long. The people that get paid monthly, they are very disciplined people. That's all I can say. You got to budget your whole expenses for the whole month versus 2 weeks. You have surprise expenses. You have unexpected expenses, which are still surprise expenses. Expenses in general. Bills that come at different times during the month, even if you try to schedule them at around the same time. These are the kind of things that just happen. I don't like somebody having control of my time, especially. I got my own things I want to do with my time. It is not pleasant to be in the middle of something or trying to do something. Gotta stop. Gotta go to work. I gotta do it. And then you gotta wait until you're off. But I can tell you one thing. Them days that I'm off, those are the hard days. I gotta give my all because I got the whole day to myself. Sometimes, I'll sleep anyways. I might just stay up the whole night. Go to sleep later, wake up, and then do it all over again. But you need to make sure that you graduate, and before you graduate, you need to make sure that you're starting to build yourself up for self-sufficiency. That way, if you want to get something, if you want to get that video game, even if you want to get a new controller, you don't have to ask mom and dad. You work for your money. You can spend it how you want. But there are dumb ways and smart ways to spend your money. And trust me, I have caved plenty of times. Even now, I still cave. Earlier this week, I went and bought like 3 games. Now, of course, I'm a little better now. They were like basically either like discounted or on sale or something, or they were basically like the pre-order games you get from like GameStop. Or not pre-order, that's brand new. Pre-owned. Or they were just older games. So their value, they depreciated basically. And then I'm doing that, saying to myself, it's an investment. You know, this is for when I do playthroughs, but I'm not doing that right now. You know, I kind of just, that's kind of what I'm doing. Smart decision making. You can build that now too. Discipline, you can build that now. All of this stuff you can build now. You can lay the stones out now to step on to get across that river. Because I'm still swimming in it. Which is kind of sad. Knowing these things that I know, I still jumped in that river. And now I'm just swimming. Trying not to get swept downstream. Fighting against the current while still trying to make it to the other side. That's where the party's at. That's where all the fun is at. That's where the good stuff is. How naive I was. Anyways, that's all I got for you all. I can't think of anything else right now. I didn't take any notes or anything. I'm kind of just thinking of this stuff off the top of my head. But I think that stuff is still pretty useful. I am still going to revisit this later anyways. But for right now, this is all the stuff that I can think of right now to all of my people around us, that's around my age that are about to graduate. Or, you know, maybe you just entered high school. I still think someone out there could probably use listening to this. And it could be beneficial to them. Hopefully. Anyways, take what you need. Leave what you don't. Turn to gold.